Having the raw, savage ability of a wild animal has gotta be pretty freaking awesome, unless that ability can punch you directly in the balls. Greetings, my fellow Nakama, and welcome to another One Piece manga review, a chapter which picks up on the Wano Kingdom arc. We are finally introduced to Bakura Town, which is basically Mos Eisley from Star Wars. There's never been a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. We get to see that this is basically where all of the gifters and the people who work under Kaido like to hang out, and all of the corrupt people who run these shops. It's also where they have big sumo matches, and we get to see more of Urashima in action. And big shock, just like the last chapter, he's a complete and total dick. But while Urashima is an asshole, he's also really freaking powerful. He's just a giant man of destruction. In fact, they even go through all of the people that he actually injures in this chapter, whether it's breaking their legs, crushing their skulls, or outright just killing them. He's just incredibly powerful. But, as we know, looks can be deceiving. While he is a very large and intimidating person, someone like Luffy or Zoro could take him down, and believe it or not, even Kiku ends up making a fool of him in this chapter. And Kiku already is becoming one of my favorite characters from this arc, if only for how incredibly cool and brash and awesome that she is. When her, Luffy, and Zoro actually come into town at the very end of this chapter, they immediately go on the attack, trying to figure out where Tama is. And they want their answers now, and they're not afraid to intimidate people doing this. And Kiku even goes as far as attacking Urashima by cutting off his top knot, which, in this world, under Kaido's rule, is probably a no-no. However, my favorite part about this chapter has to be the introduction of the character of Holdem, who is the leader of the gifters. And like a lot of the other gifters, parts of his body are actually part animal. It's not too dissimilar from a devil fruit, but they seem to have less control over these abilities. And he seems to have the abilities of a lion, except that it's actually a lion which is stuck in his stomach. And this lion has paws, and it actually seems to have its very own sentience and can move around on its own, and when it doesn't get along with its body that it's sharing, it ends up punching Holdem directly in the balls. It's such a weird moment, but man, it just made me smile so much actually seeing it. And I really like the fact that the gifters are not going to be a lot like the other zone-type devil fruit users that we've seen in the series, considering only small portions of their bodies are actually consisting of animal parts. They even introduce another one of them in this chapter who goes by the name of Mouse Man, who basically just has giant mouse ears. Basically, I think this is going to be the arc which really goes into the ridiculousness of the gifters, and I can't wait to see more of them in action. But how is this guy even going to attack people by having a lion as a stomach? I'm not even really sure how that works, but I'm really intrigued to see how they're actually going to make this guy competent in battle. So what's the rundown on this chapter of One Piece? A very simple chapter, which is mostly just an introduction to Bakura Town and just going to show how all of these cities has been taken over by Kaido and Orochi and the Shogun rule, and how they've basically gotten rid of all of the good citizens and only replaced them with the shitty ones. But I have to say that this chapter did a great job of finally introducing Holdem, who they've been building up for a couple of chapters. And I thought almost at first that he was going to have like a lion face or something, but that would be too boring and too similar to some of the other things that we've actually seen in the show. And no, he just has a lion lower torso. But man, I'm so intrigued to see how all of that is going to work, and even if he's going to be anything of a threat at all, or if he's just simply being played for laughs, because right now, he's just a total freaking goofball. But a lot of this chapter was devoted to Urashima, the Yokozuna sumo wrestler, who is like the ultimate sumo wrestler. No one can beat this guy. He even fights multiple people at once and makes fools of them. It's not until Luffy and Zoro and Kiku come into town where they finally start to intimidate everyone, with Luffy using his haki on the gifters, and Zoro just sort of kicking back and watching all this badassery in front of him. And that's been one of my favorite things about the Wano Kingdom arc, is how Zoro seems to be perfectly at home in the Wano Kingdom. It does make sense, as he is an avid swordsman, and a lot of aspects of his character are taken from Japanese culture, but I love actually getting to see him sort of relish in that in this chapter. Another thing that I really loved about this chapter was definitely the look of Bakura Town. It takes a lot of inspiration from Japanese architecture, and sort of makes it sort of weird in that One Piece kind kind of way. It's the type of chapter that you can go back and look at all the small little details and really enjoy and appreciate the art of this series. Ultimately though, however, this was basically a straight introduction to Bakura Town, a few new characters, Holdem, who has an ability that allows it to punch himself in the balls, Tama still being captured, and Kiku being a badass. I can't speak volumes for how cool that image is of her cutting off Urishima's top knot. It's just a really fantastic scene. So I'm going to give this chapter of One Piece a solid 4 out of 5. I got a lot of enjoyment out of it, though I would have hoped to see just a little bit more. Otherwise, this was a great introduction to a brand new location in the super wacky Wano Kingdom. So those are my thoughts on this chapter. I'd love to hear all of yours, and you can tell me all of them in the comments section below, and what you guys are hoping to see from the rest of the Wano Kingdom arc. Make sure to tell me what you thought about the character of Holdem and his ridiculous lion gifter abilities, and what sort of other gifters you hope to see in this arc. Let's get a discussion going, guys. I'll see you all next time, and as always, stay damn down, baby.